All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on something that pretty much powers the entire internet as you know it. Amazon Web Services, or AWS. You might not see its name, but trust me, you are using it constantly, every single day.
I mean, have you ever really stopped to think about it? How can Netflix stream movies to millions and millions of people all at the same time without crashing? Or how does Airbnb manage a global flood of bookings, especially during holidays, and just handle it? Well, a huge part of the answer is the tech we're about to get into.
Okay, so to really understand what AWS is all about, we first have to tackle the massive concept it's built on. We have to talk about the cloud.
So what even is the cloud? It sounds complicated, but it's actually a pretty simple idea. Think of it like the electricity in your house. You don't build your own power plant, right? Of course not. You just plug into the wall, use what you need, and you pay your bill at the end of the month. Cloud computing is the exact same thing, but for IT stuff like computer servers, data storage, and databases. You get access to all that power, on demand, without having to build and maintain any of the crazy expensive infrastructure yourself.
Now, this whole idea wasn't just a small little improvement. Oh no, it was a complete revolution that totally changed how businesses are built and run. So let's break down the 6 key advantages that made this such a massive game-changing shift. First up, let's talk about the money. In the old days, if you had an idea for an app, you had to spend a ton of money on physical servers before you even wrote a single line of code. It was a huge upfront cost. With the cloud, forget all that. You only pay for the computing power you actually use, when you use it. This one shift, all by itself, blew the doors wide open for a whole new generation of startups.
Second, there's the incredible power of scale. Think about it. Because AWS is buying servers and hardware for hundreds of thousands of customers all over the world, they're buying it at a scale that no single company ever could. They get insane discounts, and then they pass those savings right on to you. It makes super powerful technology way more affordable than it's ever been.
Third advantage, and honestly, this one's a lifesaver when it comes to planning.
You no longer have to play the guessing game of how many servers will we need next year. If your website suddenly goes viral overnight, you can add more computing power in minutes to handle the traffic. And just as important, if things quiet down, you can scale right back down so you're not paying for servers that are just sitting there doing nothing. No more crashing because you guessed too low, and no more wasting money because you guessed too high.
Okay, fourth advantage. Let's talk about pure, unadulterated speed.
I am not exaggerating when I say that getting a new server used to take weeks. There were purchase orders, shipping, installation. It was a whole process. Now, it's literally just a few clicks. That incredible speed means developers can try out new ideas, experiment, and launch new features faster than anyone ever thought possible.
The fifth advantage. Well, this one is all about focus.
By letting AWS handle all the heavy lifting, the physical racking of servers, the cooling, the power, all that stuff, companies can stop worrying about being data center managers. Instead, they can pour all of their time, money, and energy into what actually matters for their business, building incredible products for their customers.
And finally, our 6th advantage is all about reach, global reach. This is just mind-blowing. With just a few clicks, you can deploy your application in data centers all over the planet. You can serve customers in Europe, Asia, and South America just as easily as you serve customers next door. This makes expanding to a global audience incredibly easy and affordable.
Okay, so we've covered why the cloud is so powerful, but what are the actual pieces you build with? I want you to think of AWS as this giant, endless box of digital Legos. And just like Legos, there are a few core fundamental blocks that you use to build almost everything.
At its very core, you've got 4 main types of services. First, there's compute, like Amazon EC2. That's basically your virtual computer server in the cloud. Then you have storage, like Amazon S3. This is like having an infinite, super reliable hard drive. Third is databases, like Amazon RDS. These are your smart, powerful, and scalable filing cabinets for all your data. And finally, you've got networking, with services like VPC, which is all the digital plumbing that securely connects everything together.
But here's the thing, those 4 core building blocks, they're really just the beginning. Today, AWS has grown into this absolutely massive universe of specialized tools. And when I say massive, I am not kidding. The platform now offers over 200 distinct services, and that number is just always going up. And this is just a tiny taste of what's out there. There are tools specifically for machine learning and AI, for the Internet of Things, for deep data analytics, for video game tech, you name it.
There are even services for quantum computing. The bottom line is, if you have a digital idea, no matter how wild, there is almost certainly an AWS service designed to help you build it.
So, with all this incredible power available to everyone, it brings up a really important question, right? How does AWS make sure all of this stuff is reliable and, more importantly, secure? This is where something called the shared responsibility model comes in. It's actually a pretty simple idea. AWS is responsible for security of the cloud. That means they protect the physical buildings, the actual servers, the networking cables, all the hardware. But you are responsible for security in the cloud. That's your data, your applications, and who you give access to. The best analogy is this. AWS builds a super secure apartment building with great locks and guards, but you're still responsible for locking your own apartment door.
And really, this all leads to one final, really powerful idea. The cloud has completely leveled the playing field. It gives anyone, a student in their dorm room, a small startup, you, access to the same powerful global infrastructure that used to be reserved for only the biggest corporations on Earth. So with a nearly infinite set of digital building blocks, all available to you in just minutes, it leaves us with one question. What would you build?